I went to save him. I told him I'm cutting down my training. And I had 2 days of the head coming and sitting and telling me, you're going somewhere that doesn't have a name. Do you think you're doing the right thing?
Being a woman in tech, people used to tell me, why are you sitting and doing this development job? You have 2 kids, should get into QA. Life will be simpler, it's easier, so pursue that. Development is going to keep you up at night.
Hi, this is Surya. Welcome to episode 2 of In and Around Tech. Here, we speak about the tech ecosystem over the last 10 years, what's happening currently, and what future holds for tech especially. When we speak about tech, it's impossible to speak about it in full depth without mentioning the contributions that women have played in building the entire ecosystem. When you see this video, it might be Women's Day, so happy Women's Day. As said earlier, we have come a long way in tech, and with respect to representation of women in tech, also we have come a long way. But as you know, there are always a lot of opportunities and challenges for women in tech. A small stat, only 27% of women engineers are in STEM. So how do we make that equal or make more women participate in tech? And that's what we are going to deep dive today. Obviously, I'm not an expert here. So I've brought in 2 experts who can go deep into this subject. So let's dive in. Welcome, Mridula. Welcome, Poornima.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming today. If you can give a quick introduction about what you do and where you're from, that will be very helpful.
Okay. So, hi, I'm Mridula. At the moment, I'm a software engineer at Meta London. I'm actually from a place called Vilathigolam, which is in the south of Tamil Nadu. And I'm born and raised in Madurai, and I moved to Bangalore a couple of 5-6 years ago.
I'm Poornima. I'm an AI engineer lead and manager with IBM. I work with the Watson-X client engineering team. I've been with IBM for almost 16 years now, and I started my career with GE. So I spent around 6 years there before and did various roles before I became an AI engineer.
Were you a computer science engineer or what was your undergrad?
Yeah, undergrad was in computer science.
Bangalore?
I studied in Bangalore, everything.
Undergrad in computer science. And immediately did you do a master's or?
I started working and then I did my first master's while I was working on the job with BITS Pilani. I'm still doing my master's. I'm doing my second master's in AI and ML with UK University.
How did the career started, Poornima? You said you started with GE. What did you do at GE?
Okay, in GE, I was in the supply chain domain. So I was a Java developer. I started off as a Java developer. And that's what I wanted to do all my life. So it started way back from when I was in school. I was the first one to enter the computer lab and the last one to leave. So programming was like something I just wanted to do forever. So engineering and computer science and taking a job in software was my dream, and GE gave me that opportunity. Yes. So I started in 2001. Yeah.
At that point in time, there is not a lot of information about, say, how to build a career in tech. Right? Like, how did you know about that? How did you kind of say, okay, this is what I like? Is that just because you like the computer lab and then you said, okay, what are the opportunities there? Or how did you go about it?
Okay. So I had some of my cousins and maybe my sister's friends whom I had seen move into engineering and get great jobs, move into the US and all that. That was there. But like I said, it was the love for programming that I had. So I was sure I wanted to do engineering, or if I don't get a seat, I would do a BSc computer science and do what I like. That was it. I didn't know that you had the IITs of the world. You could go out and pursue education. Nothing of that. So I was like, Bangalore has engineering colleges, write your CET, apply, get into one. and start studying. I didn't have much information, I can say, but it was just my, vision or my passion with programming that started me off on this career. Even in my early days in GE, I was not sure where I wanted to be. You have this question, what do you want to do in 5 years? I had no clue. So whatever work came my way, I just did it and went with the flow.
And technology keeps on changing, right? Especially in this field, right? Probably every 2-3 years there's a big shift that comes, and you end up adapting to it. How did you if you, this 20 years of 20-year career? What helped you kind of build your career, and how did you go about it?
Okay. So there are multiple things which contribute to your career, right? First thing, you have to learn to stay relevant to your job. So you have to understand what it is that you need to learn to be relevant. So you start following the technology, keep upskilling yourself, and keep following the flow. So if you take my case, I started as a Java developer. I was a contributor on Dojo, which was one of the first JavaScript frameworks. And at that point of time, we had software engineers. We didn't have data scientists, or we didn't have AI engineers or UI developers. Everybody did everything, right? Excuse me. So I just pretty much went with the flow. Like, I saw what was required for that job. What did I need to learn? Is it, NoSQL database, or is it adopting cloud? Because slowly cloud came into picture. So we had to learn that and start deploying on the cloud, start working on it. Kubernetes came, and all engineers are like, yes, this is the thing. So you start learning Kubernetes, do certifications around that. And of course, AI comes along. And without knowing what it is, you're already working with data, you're preparing data, and you're using it, right? I didn't know I was doing a data science job, but I was working with speech data, language data, cleaning it up, doing a lot of things without knowing what that was a role. So it just went with the flow. But the main thing is stay relevant, and you have to keep upskilling. You cannot get into your comfort zone and say, I love Java programming, I'm going to stay here.
So just an extension of that thought process, right? Would you say that in case if you had more guidance / information on what to do in a more structured approach, would it have helped? Or usually what we have seen, right? Passion trumps everything. If you are just passionate, you figure out what you need to do. So is that, for example, with the people that you see now coming into the workforce, right? Do you see a difference that they can essentially scale faster if there is a structured approach of what next to do, or it's passion trumps everything?
No, absolutely. You need that structured approach. I certainly miss having a good mentor in the beginning of my career, who could have given me some pathway and help me, set my goals. Without setting your goals, when you work, you're losing a lot of time. You're doing a lot of things which are probably unnecessary sometimes. So you need to set your goals, and you need that mentor who will guide you and, get you there. That is absolutely essential. So now, I think mentorship is a very big thing. People seek mentees, and mentors seek mentees, and mentees also go searching for their mentors. So early on, they have a good goal. They are quite sorted, I can say. And there are a lot of platforms where they can upskill themselves. Like Creo, you have Scalar, Upgrade, so many of them. So as long as you have the will to learn, you have all these resources which we didn't have earlier. We are people who are learning from books.
Yeah, at that point in time, I can imagine. So the good thing about this is a structured approach is probably the exposure, right? We were speaking about this just before starting the shoot, right? Exposure plays a significantly important role in what a person can become, and the talent that is there within, right? And I firmly believe in this because I think I've seen both cases where people who are like at least 10x talented than me, not having that exposure, not getting to where they could have been. And my case of where I got the exposure, not talented enough, put in the hard work, you have the ability. So just a segue to you, right? I know you come from deep south Tamil Nadu. From there to getting into a college to Bangalore, Bangalore to London, right? What's this journey? Do you relate to that fact that exposure makes things easier, or if you can just give a...
So I totally agree to that point in exposure. I come from business families where I did not know anybody who's done engineering or have gone for jobs. So when I actually moved from deep south to the mid Madurai, and then I was doing my college, to give a background, I am an electronics engineer. I always wanted to be a doctor all my life. That was my goal. So very contradictory thing. I did not know about engineering first. So it was like, growing up, I just wanted to be a doctor and all that.
Why doctor?
I liked biology.
Okay.
So I really liked biology. And I think it was more like I was exposed to that field after businesses in many ways, but I was never exposed to engineering at all.
So you met more doctors?
Yeah, grew up.
Okay.
I knew hardly 1 to 2 engineers who were already abroad.
Okay.
And mostly it was from the business side. And also it was like, it was more of a respected profession at that point when I was small in that village. Because Vilatikulam, where I'm from, is almost like a taluk. It's really small. Okay. One school, and then you have doctors. I haven't met engineers at that point, maybe a little bit. Even I knew about IAS, but not about engineering. Okay. So it was more about that. Then when...
Just to kind of, this is not long back, right? When was this?
I think around 2000s.
2000?
Yeah. I still think exposure is not about generation or years, because even now I know I can relate because my life has been at different cities all my life, I would say. At different tier, even if I talk back to my friends who are back there, I think they still have a different level of exposure. Yeah. We can say internet and everything has come up. Yes, it's made things easier, but it's exposed to too many things. And what you consume also depends upon what you know at some point.
Yeah.
So
you search what you know.
Exactly. And then it's personalized again, right? So they keep feeding what you know only at that point. So yeah. So when medical did not work out for many reasons, I just chose engineering because I had a good cutoff. And it was like, okay, I need to choose electronics or coding. And I was very afraid of coding because I've done a bit of coding in school and I felt it's very hard at that point. So I just joined electronics. I joined electronics because I knew that after electronics, I can either go for IT if I want. I can also pursue GATE and go for nice government jobs. So it's like, okay, fine, I will take this field. So I joined electronics. I was in for it. And then though I was studying well and all, I did not have the passion for it. Like sometimes I feel like your gut knows what you like. And that is what has kept me going throughout my career. So at that point, I did not resonate for it. I even tried going for GATE, but I couldn't. So from the third year, I just realized I took some little bit of computer science classes. Coding was hard, but I feel any skill can be learned. And because I had my passion for it, though I did not learn it, separately, I started studying a bit of Java coding. I went into Java. It's like one of my sweet spot as well. So I started learning Java and then started from there. And during that time is when the service industries is a big thing where you get into companies and all that. So I started learning. I took little interviews for internship and all. But again, I think I was a person who was steadfast on I knew what I want, at least at that point. I think now it becomes less and less clear as you go towards the career. But in the beginning, it's much easier. So I was like, no, I'm going for product companies. I don't know why that thought came. I once came to Chennai and I saw Zoho. And products have always excited me. And I saw the way, somebody has gone there, come here, and they've built this whole scene. And I want to be part of something like that. So I finished, I was doing my final year. And then because, again, our colleges did not have much of opportunities, I was doing off-campus opportunities in college like Tyagaraja, which was like really good. I was competing there and I got into a service industry. I was there. I thought I was sorted. I was in final year college. I got a good placement at that point. I was one of the people who got placed. I thought it was fine. Until I came to Bangalore for visiting my relative. That's when I knew a world existed, which I did not know. And there was this Amazon's entrance exam. I just took it for the first time. I failed miserably, like I couldn't code anything. I went home and I realized like this person was in a small well, everything shattered. And oh my God, I didn't know anything out of it. After that, it came to me the point that you know what I'm going to learn. Once I decided that, I started looking for answers, but I didn't know who to talk to. And even the people I spoke to did not have much of an answers at all. So I was learning from internet, but it's too much everywhere. And I think I'm a person who feels a structure is really good. You give me structure, I'm sorted. Too much of uncertain I was lost. So I was lost here and there. This was happening, but still I was like, it would be nice if something somewhere to guide. And I took AMCAT exams I was writing, and all I wanted to do was an internship. So I was preparing little bit of coding here and there with my knowledge. And because of through AMCAT, I got an internship at Sapient, Publicis Sapient right now it's called. So I joined there as a trainee when I was still in my final year of college. I was doing that, but still, and I was a little bit intimidated when I came from a really small town, suddenly to Bangalore where people were from Manipal and bits and all. And then I was there, I thought I would never be able to crack that interview. But I think as long as you have the energy or you're willing to put the effort, people would be okay having you there. So I joined there, and at last I was juggling between final year exams, doing internships. Having said this, right, even doing an internship was not something we are exposed to.
Yeah.
When I came here, I realized in Bangalore, it's such a common thing that people do internships. When I went to college and I had to apply for internship, it was like, so you're not going to be part of this attendance? What do you want to do? Like, I didn't know that existed. So once I was juggling between this and that, one day there was this one phone call which changed a lot of things. I had this ambition of about going into product industries and all, but I said, right, I didn't have the exposure or the people I can talk with. So that was Sridhar, who's the founder of Cryo. I met him, and we actually connected over a phone call to a common friend. There were people who thought around me thinking, what, she wants to do all this. Take this part, it's safe route, do a gate or do an internship, be there. And there was this guy who suddenly I spoke with who was like, why is everybody having this small vision? You can go into product companies, you can earn, let's say 15 to 20 lakhs, you can dream big. I was like, okay, somebody is talking along these lines. And also from the fact that, somebody from a tier 4 city going to, let's say, to US for masters and then being in the headquarters. I was like, if somebody has done it, we can do it. So that gave me that drive. And suddenly it just brought me validation that what I believed in is doable. It's not like I'm taking a path which is not doable at all. Then during that time, again, I was doing college, Sapient internship, and I was also working with Sridhar closely. That time Cryo did not exist. I think they were more about a piloting stage. I would say I'm the first product of Cryo at that point. So I learned Git through the Git module which was being developed.
Okay.
So I used to hit my brain and be like, what is this Git? I don't know what to push. It's confusing me. And Sridhar used to create this and be like, wait. And I've never met at that point. It was all virtual. That's also a good thing. When you're virtual, you're able to get things. And I also strongly believe that when we work on it, things will come. And it come. So that was happening. And then the Cryo was getting the first micro experiences, or the course was getting built, and I was doing it, and we were working together and all that. And I was a part of this Publicis Sapient. When all this was going on, I thought, honestly, I joined there and this is some course or something I'm learning from, and that is where my career would be. One thing I never wanted to do was join a startup.
Right.
Because I was like, I don't think I've got it in me to ever be a part of startup. So I was at Sapient, and I remember that was the time when Sundar Pichai had become the CEO, and it was this big thing. Again, I liked it because I know somebody from PSBB had made it this big. So even we can take the path or something like that. All this changed. I went for a hackathon. First time I went for a hackathon to Bhopal. That's the time I'm traveling outside Bangalore. So for me, everything outside of Bangalore was North India at that point. So I'm going to Bhopal for the first time. It's the Smart India hackathon where you have everybody from India, all the IITians and all those, and they're there. So we developed a product for rural scheme management. It was for the Social Justice Ministry, and we won it. When we won it, it kind of actually got me the point that, oh, you know what? There is the other different world which we have not seen, where you can build product and it has an impact and it has a lot more exposure than what we can do. I just came back from the hackathon, and then I had a call with Sridhar. He was my mentor also at that point. I think having a mentor is very important. And as we say, the guidance and the exposure. So I was like, So at that point, I was also this cryo's product, right? Where I had been a service industry where I learned this stuff and I want to go to product. He was like, do you want to come and give it a try at cryo? First, there was nobody in the company. And second, I didn't want to be a part of startup. So I was like, I don't think I've got it in me. And then he said, you're very hardworking and that's more than enough. And I've seen it in you. We have never met, but I think you have got it. I was very hesitant, but then I just trusted. I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I can do a slight transition, because at that point I had a full-time offer. And for me to leave that and to get into something was a lot of risk. But I had a lot of this gut instinct at that point. And Sridhar also told me, you know what? Come for 2 months of internship, try. I don't know what happened. I went to Sapien. I told them I'm cutting down my training. And I had 2 days of the head coming and sitting and telling me, you're going somewhere that does not have a name. Do you think you're doing the right thing? Will it work for you? I was like, no, it's fine. I'm doing it. And then I informed my college I'm rescinding my offer. I had so many calls saying, you know, what are you doing? You got so hard. This is a very good company. You can be there for 3-4 years. It was in Chennai only. But then I was like, no, I'm doing it. That gut instinct I came. We started working in 91 Springboard. I think they took 91 Springboard because I joined at that point. So I just met Ratna and Sheila for the first time. I started my internship for 2 months. It was nice. It was much more than what I thought. Obviously, I had to learn a lot. But I was always the person who would prepare a lot before getting into something. But for the first time, I got in and then learned on the job. I like the ownership and things which came with that. So yeah, that's why I've been in cryo at that point.
Nice. Sometimes what the gut tells you turns out for the good.
Long journey, no? From
it was I feel like it was almost like 1.5 years of journey that complete was. A
lot of, as you spoke, there are a lot of questions that kind of come to me. But just to kind of complete the journey, right? From that to Facebook or Meta in London, what was that journey?
Okay, again. So I think my journeys are a little bit of a longer sprint than shorter things. Like the previous journey we spoke about took 1.5 years, and this journey currently took, I think, correctly about 2 years. So I was part of cryo and I was working and all that. That's a different sector of my life. I always wanted to go for these product companies. That was there at the back of my head. But when I applied, obviously I got rejected because I didn't have a brand or I didn't come from any of the cream colleges and all that. So I was there. Part of this also, so this was happening and I kind of accepted the fact, maybe you know what, this is not for me. And then I was working. But during cryo, I had gone to deliver cohorts where I met the best of the bestest mind. I realized they're also like me. Like obviously, they do have a lot of skills, but everything can be learned. So during those 3 years, I learned a lot and it was all happening. And during the COVID time is when there is a gut instinct. I think I work more about, I get this restless feeling of where I am. And when I realize it's not for me, it's not for me. At that point, I become this person where I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. So I wanted to move abroad, I decided. I was like, I'm going to move abroad. It also came from the place that, so many years I've been in India. I've renewed my passport so many times, never even tried it or done it. So I wanted to go out to the country and get the exposure. And having seen these guys, many other people like Kiran and all, they had come back. So I was like, I want to get that exposure. So honestly, there were 2 routes which I could take. One was doing masters and the other was engineering. I started pursuing the master's route. First, it was very financially expensive. And during COVID, already they were giving back, they were withdrawing applications. People couldn't go, they were stuck. So it's like that path was closed. And I knew this is a less taken path. It was a hard path. But if you think about it, you're getting paid to do something which you wanted. So I was like, okay. Again, when I wanted to do the switch, it was like, you know what, you can do it. Maybe you can go for some big size companies, but not FANG. FANG, at least according to me, in my mind, at that point, it was like, that's my pinnacle. If I try it, it's good. And it will also give me that brand and everything. And working as a startup helped me boost up my portfolio and my profile because I've done a lot of different things. So when this was happening, again, it was like, if I was thinking strategically, which companies would be able to afford me to move me out of here, there? Only these FANG companies would be able to, because they had the money and everything. Again, do I have the skill set for it? No. So I was always very afraid of lead coding and all the programming. I've cried multiple months trying like, I can't do this. I've given up so many times. Then I'm like, every time I give up, after some time, again, that restlessness will come back. I'm like, let's give it a try. If you give it everything and then you fail, it's fine. But then at least we need to give it. Then when I gave it, I wasn't with Meta. I was not stuck on Meta. I didn't apply for all the 5 companies and couple of companies, but I was bit ambitious with my perspective that I want to get into, let's say, Microsoft or Meta or something. And I was very clear, I'm going to go abroad. I did not even apply for a single job anywhere here because I wanted to get that exposure. So when I was doing that, and then suddenly I was also applying through referrals, things did not work out. And one day, I think it was around April, uh, I suddenly got, I think like you need to keep on applying. You will think there is no progress, but you might be very close to achieving what you want.
Okay.
And one day, suddenly, like I got so many offers, like even Microsoft came through, Meta came through, Google came through. I was like, okay. I also, at that point, I think I had learned the algorithm, or let's say the framework or structure. You have to optimize your LinkedIn. You have a good startup experience. You have your resume, what you work for. So it's a framework. And I also realized if you do that framework, things might work. So yeah, then there was a rigorous interview for another 4-5 months. Then because it was during COVID, I got hired. But again, we didn't know whether we'll go or not. So after 6 months, I finally went and joined.
Nice.
Congrats on
Great,
that.
yeah. That's a great story, no?
Oh, one thing I want to add, you spoke about brand,
Yes.
the college
Yeah.
or the company you worked in. I think that doesn't matter. You are the brand.
Yeah, so if we talk about it now, I think until I joined that place, I had a different perspective. Now it's all changed. Like we are the brand. It's not what we think it is. I mean, it is amazing in many ways.
Yeah.
But I think it's more about our brand and the work we do and the work satisfaction. It's more of a social stigma where you want to be. Only when you reach it, you understand that. I completely agree, but it took me a couple of years
Yeah.
to get that.
So, just to kind of take the conversation forward, the gut aspect of it, right? Like a lot of people want to do really good stuff, right? And sometimes they just do not know the pathway towards it and fall off, right? They try once, twice, thrice, and after a period of time, they just fail off and say, hey, this is not for me, I'll just do the normal thing. Given your experience, and you also kind of highlighted gut, you need to follow the gut. So kind of would love to take that conversation forward from your experiences. How do you take decisions? What do you think about these failures? I have my own perspective out here, but would love to hear yours.
Failure is certainly a setback, yes, but you have to take your risks, right? Otherwise, you're going to settle in wherever you are. So I was working, I was a developer on products for a very long time. Then there was a point where I had to transition out, and I had to move out from labs into a sales environment. So you can think what a change that is from development to sales. Of course, I was an engineer there. I am an engineer in sales, but that was a big jump. But my gut said, this is going to be good for you. So I just took it. And there were a lot of apprehensions. Friends and family, they were like, are you sure? I'm like, yes, I have a good feeling. That was great because I was a frog in the well when I was in the lab. I don't know my customers. Someone gives me the requirements. I'm coding. I'm giving it away, fixing my bugs. I'm happy. But this was a completely different world when you enter sales, the big bad world. You
And
talk
in
to the
sales, what do
customer
you,
directly.
so is it like a pre-sales engineer kind of a role where you show the product? What?
So I did 2 roles. Initially, I started with developer advocacy.
Okay.
So this is where you connect with developers in companies rather than the C-suite executives. So you connect with them, you work with them, you develop along with them. So they get to know your product and how well it works and what solutions it can give them. So, and you do hackathons, you speak at conferences, you blog, and you reach out to the developer community in multiple ways. So I did that. That was such an amazing thing to do, And slowly after that, I moved into the CTO office where we did this pre-sales activity for customers. So you try to listen to their pain points and you try to envision a solution which will help them out. Excuse me. So that gives you the power to create. It's your solution. It is not a solution which someone says, okay, see, this is the architecture. This is what you need to code. You think of a solution. You think this is how, they can benefit. You code it out. You show it to them. That's like great satisfaction. So yeah, in sales, now I'm in the client engineering team. This is what we do. We do pre-sales. We try to work along with the customer. We do POCs for them and try to bring value to them through our products.
And coming back to the previous question, sorry I interrupted your flow, which is, so your gut says something, you kind of do it, and for some people it kind of clicks the first time itself. For some people you need to kind of do it again and again. A lot of times our gut says something, we also want to pursue it, but we also know that just because we are pursuing it, it doesn't happen immediately like tomorrow, right? It will take some grind to get to the place that where we want to be, right? And the fall off point is in between this, what gut says and you start, to where you want to reach, and there are so many hurdles where you fall off, right? What are your thoughts on that? Like, what do you see people who fall off? Have you seen people falling off, and why? And people who succeed, why do they succeed?
Okay. First thing is, when you follow your gut, you need complete confidence in yourself. You cannot doubt yourself and reach any place. And when you fall, you will fall multiple times. You have to pick yourself up. So when I fall, I just look back at my decision and think, why did I make this decision? And I'm like, okay, I felt good about this. This is what is going to make me happy. This is what I'm going to enjoy doing. And I see something good coming out of it. Let me just bear with this for the moment and see where it goes. So yeah, that's what it takes, perseverance.
Can I ask for an example?
Yeah, so there are several I can tell you. One is being a woman in tech. People used to tell me, why are you sitting and doing this development job? You have 2 kids, should get into QA. Those days we had developers and we had QA. So they're like, take QA, life will be simpler. It's easier, so pursue that. Development is going to keep you up at nights. Like, no, I love doing this. I'm going to stay here. So that was an easy decision, I can say. And now I'm forced to get into, not forced, I won't use the word force. At this point in my career, I have to decide which way to go. Whether I want to pursue being in the management role or in the tech, which is a very arduous journey going ahead. It's not simple, I know, but that's where I love to be. So there is a lot of push to get into management. You need leadership skills, both either ways. That is something everybody has to develop. But being a full-time manager and being a people manager is probably not my thing. But at this point in my career, there is a lot of pull towards it. We're like, so many years, now it's time for you to take this role. Why are you not doing it? It's going to help you. I think there is merit in what they say, but my gut and my mind
Your cup of tea is this.
Yeah.
Said that, I can also talk about how gut failed me miserably as well, as much as I've taken my instincts on gut. So there was this point when I was done with engineering of 2.5 years, and from my work experience, I enjoy working with customers, like how you said. For me, it's not just about going in somewhere and coding. I like when I see the end product or your problem solved and all that. So early in my career, I think about 2-3 years back, I was like, I'm moving out of engineering. I had so many people, like experienced people, tell me, maybe sometimes it's also okay to understand a little bit from everyone and then see what works for you, but to understand from people's experience. I was like, no, my gut says this, I will do it. So, and then I moved away. I explored other paths and it was all fine. When I was doing this job search, when I said all these interview calls happened, there was a point when engineering interview calls happened, but I chose to reject 40 interview calls, including one from Google and everything. I was like, no, I'm not doing this. I want to get into product. I am getting into product. This is what I'm doing. And then I just started searching out the job experiences, went for interviews, failed miserably. I just understood first, I don't have the expertise to get into the market. And second, maybe it's not time. And that's when my other mentor, who was also in cryo and product called Amit, we had a talk, and then he was like, Mridula, you're getting an opportunity to go outside the country, explore, get that exposure. It's nobody is telling you not to follow what you want, but maybe you need to follow it a little later. So that's also I've learned that it's a step up. When you follow your gut, you fail. It's fine. Maybe gain some experience. Be patient with it as well. Sometime that even if you ask me today, I will definitely follow it again. But maybe when you pursue it the next time, change the environment or change the strategy. And for different people, it's different. For me, until I do it and fail, I won't accept no for an answer.
Yes.
So that then in that case, if anybody wants to go and pursue, it fails, it's fine. Give it some time, or maybe change approach, like how you said. Maybe try applying like this. It might work, or sometimes it might not work for the best as well. So yeah,
That's a lesson probably for me to pick up.
No, I think over a period of time we all figure it out, right? Like so many things happen for a reason. It's just that we don't know when it happens later. So I just wanted to ask you. You spoke about there are two roles, which is the managerial and the engineering. So if there is a girl sitting in Madurai and wants to pursue tech, right? What is the approach that they should take into? So say, for example, they're doing their 10th, 11th and 12th, right? They haven't seen a lot of people in engineering right now, but they are exposed to computer labs. Now they like computer science. Computers, they like computers. What is the approach? What is the career path? How do they think about it?
When you ask this question, it reminds me that we in tech, we have a certain responsibility and to go back and give back to the community and inspire these girls and boys to, follow a certain career. So that is certainly one thing
for this podcast also. So that we people, hopefully there is that girl in some part of a tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 city looking at this and saying, hey, okay, there's a Poornima or a Mridula who have done this at scale and I can do this, right? And so, yeah, sorry.
When you ask career path or the methodology, I don't know, it's like simple thing is we have done it. You can do it. You can do anything. Just keep following that and don't fall for the money aspect or the time aspect and jump out of it. Right? Like awareness is very, very important. I think it's not there. Again, I wouldn't put the responsibility on those kids. It's on us. It's on the government. It's on everybody to create that awareness, create those opportunities and let them know what is available. I think now you have Atal Tinkering Labs. You have IBM used to work with them. There are so many such STEM initiatives which gives them that awareness. But what should they do to become aware? I'm not sure. I think it's our responsibility.
I'll just break that question down, right? Like there are different segments of tech, right? There's the development side of it, right? Then there's the testing side of it. Then there's cloud. Now, since with a lot of data, understanding and analyzing data, and probably the next step would be like using data to take automatic decisions with probably AI and ML. So how do you see these opportunities? Say, for example, there's a girl who wants to do computer science. So would you say computer science engineering or BSc computer science is step one?
Absolutely.
Step one.
Absolutely.
And from there on, what are the basic skill sets that they should learn while they do their undergrad?
I will always say they should learn to learn first.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? That goes without saying.
Because the reason I'm asking this question is in undergrad, we are very theory based. Right now, even now also, right? That's how it was. So, in association with the theory, what additional should I
can maybe think. So at least from my side of experience, what I feel is So first, let's say you're a computer science engineer and you want to go into the field, and there are multiple sectors like how you told, right? There is development, there's testing, there's user design. First, try to understand what is it in for you. And you don't have to completely understand, but if there are 5 different 6 things. So today, if they think about tech is not only about coding, there are so many different things. So understand the profile and then start applying for internships. I feel like internship is a really good way. Having said that, when I have done intern later, I have gone to BSNL. I've done LabVIEW things. So when you try your hands at different things, you'll know what your strengths are or what your passion is. So let's say in that case, you are trying to understand and learn that's going to be coding. Now, again, in coding, once you have narrowed down, understand what are the industries which is there. The more you keep on doing one step further, you'll start getting opportunities along the way. You'll be exposed. Like maybe you might come across a hackathon, maybe you'll read an article, maybe you'll meet somebody who's done it. The universe will start bringing you closer at that point. So let's say when it's going to be coding, at least for coding perspective, I would say, don't go with this thing that just because it's famous that you want to do. Like I have seen now, really suddenly there is this trend of everybody wanting to be a data scientist. Like why?
I was about to say that just because that's the job now, don't do it. Do it only if you're passionate about it and you feel good doing it. I thought you were asking about school children, how to jump out of it. But yeah, like she said, keep trying out things. Like nowadays, a lot of people maintain such cool GitHub repositories, where they try out things. Probably someone else has already tried it. That's fine. They still try out a lot of things of their interest, keep their code over there. And you have a lot of learning avenues and there's a lot of free courses as well. So it's not enough just if you're with your textbook and, passing your exams and getting a good percentage.
As we said that, right? I feel like now there is this one thing of following the fad which has been going, and also about do limited, but then be really good at it. Like when I just started my career, there was, at least during my time, it was the thing about learning multiple languages. Like you should know what 5-6 languages. Yeah, it was around that point. And when I used to meet people, they'd be like, one will be like learn Python, one was Java, one was learn JavaScript. I was very confused about what I learned. Then I met a generation of engineers who were solid, who knew only C++ or C. Then I understood if you're so strong in one language, you can always make a parallel transition to multiple things. Then I just stuck with Java. I'm still now stuck with Java. So if it's going to be some other language, I'll try to relate it to that. Obviously, you need to have the ability to go for multiple things, but don't try out little and try to reduce on what you have to go for and go depth into something. And then you will be able to figure out what you have to take, more into, you have learned this coding language, then you become more better at it. Now, understand, is there something like a backend, for example, when it comes to engineering. So try first a breadth-first approach and then go depth-wise, then it will be easier that way.
Yeah, if you're good at one language, I think inherently you become polyglot and you can try several others. You get that confidence.
Just to summarize the last 15-20 minutes, follow your gut and be good at something, at one thing, one language if you want to go to coding, right? The next question that I had was primarily, again, tying back to exposure, right? So if somebody wants to get exposed to tech, right, and say, how do they get exposed to that now that everybody has internet, right? Now, as you said, what you search becomes a pattern, and therefore that's what people feed you. If I need to break that pattern and search the right things so that I can get my feeds into that as well, what do I search? What do I read? Where do I look out to? And like, what's my starting point?
I feel like it's the willingness to do what you won't do generally. Let's say, for example, you're hearing, or even today, there is internet, right? You have to create a LinkedIn profile. Don't be so inherent that I wouldn't do it. If it works for someone, go give it a try. So once you do that LinkedIn profile, then you will start attracting the right opportunities. So I feel like at anything you want to pursue, if you want to break the pattern, you need to do something which you've never done, and try to follow people who have done something and do that.
Great thing. So try to follow people who have done something and follow that. So therefore, LinkedIn might be a good place to start with, because you can then go and see what companies are there, what kind of job roles are there. Go just visit what does Mridula or Poornima have done over a period of time and take a look at it, and from there connections go from the.
There should be some template, right? Somebody would have done it. And also when you're doing this, you would understand that your strengths are certain ways and your strengths are not certain ways. For example, not all companies are your cup of tea. Then once you actually start pursuing things, you will understand, oh, these companies are my cup of tea, these are not. And there are certain people who have worked both ways. Both are way to success and follow this path A.
Oh.
So something like that, I think, would also work if somebody wants to pursue.
I have not been through this experience, so I will go with what she's saying.
What would your advice be then?
Okay, no, like I said, I'm not in the generation where I had to do this, or I had an opportunity to go search and do this.
Yes.
So I'm
Just to put that question differently, your daughter's friend comes to you and says, I want to get into tech. What would you advise her? She's probably in a third or fourth year of college, just has good grades, but has nothing else to show.
okay. So people who have approached me like that, first thing I ask them to get their basics right. It's not like just another subject that you're studying and you get good marks and get through it. Now, as an AI engineer, I can see some of those subjects I studied in college that was so important. And now I have to go to Khan's Academy here and there and learn it all over again. So, first thing is, before you jump out and get all experimental, get your basics right. It takes you a long way through. Second thing is, once you're through with that, once you have that in control, start trying out things by yourself. Look for opportunities, maybe internships, or it may be freelancing, coding experience. There are a lot of things out there. So go try to pick up something and create something with your own hands. It's not just reading about it. Create something. Then you will know what are the hardships or what are the technicalities that go into it. So always get your hands dirty into something. That's very important. Like if it's coding, sit and code. Don't just read about coding. There is no use. Or if you're in a mechanical thing, try to build something that takes you a long way. And of course, pursue courses which is going to help you get there. Take some additional external courses, not within your college, maybe on Udemy, maybe on Coursera or something else. Maybe like if Cryo is offering something, go do that so that you get that exposure. Now you have meetups, you have so many other avenues. So keep your options open.
So I think at least now that I've started and been in the career for a couple of years, if I think about myself a couple of years back, it was just career and I could go all into it. And now that I'm progressing towards it, I would say it's hard for everybody, even a boy or a girl, but it gets a little bit tricky for a girl when she has to have a personal life or you want to make decisions. And you also don't want to go back too much in your career, but you don't want to miss on other aspects of life as well. Having gone through that journey, right? How would you advise for the next generation or for us to handle it?
Let me first tell what I went through and how I look at it now. I have two daughters. So I paid that motherhood penalty that Palki Sharma was talking about. And I had to pay that because at my generation, that is how even I was thinking. Like, okay, I have to have a family. I'm responsible for it. I can't focus so much probably on work for some time. I'm going to do it all by myself. So I did it. I paid that penalty, but that's not right. I think my mindset was not right. And I think the society at that time was also like that. Now it's changing. Now there are fathers who want to pay that parenthood penalty. They're taking equal responsibility, taking their paternal vacation, staying with the kid, doing their bit. So first thing is we have to be mentally prepared that it's not your thing, right? It's both are into it together. But that said, still there is a little bit of price that you pay. I won't call it a price. maybe there will be a period where you can't be very aggressive. You will have to pull back a little. But that is important. You have to prioritize what is important at that moment and not miss out on that personal period, right? So mentally prepare yourself, financially prepare yourself to take that time off which you deserve and your family deserves. And once you jump back, now I think a lot of companies are coming up with this return to work initiatives, which is helping. But that apart, you need to build your support system. You need to ensure that both of you are equally into raising your family and devoting time to your family. The mindset has to change, and I can see that it is changing slightly. And very importantly, from an enterprise or organization perspective, I think we should have mentors for women, so that men and women, I will say, so that they are mentored about how to handle this situation, how it is important to take time off, how to be prepared for those moments, and shouldn't look like a punishment or a traumatic situation. Like, I'm going to have a baby. Oh God, 6 months gone, 1 month gone. What to do? So we need proper mentors and support from an enterprise. So once you have your kid, how to help that woman come back into the workforce and adjust. So that way, I think I've been very lucky with IBM and my family. I had support system there, and IBM was really fantastic with bringing women back to the workforce. A lot of flexibility we had.
Just to ask on that front, because you would have taken decisions during this journey, right, on this aspect, where you, let's say, frowned upon or questioned upon your decisions. Let's say there are people who might choose to take a break and come back, or many who do not even want to take a break. And then irrespective of what you choose, there is going to be this society stigma and opinion which is going to be interested, right? And I think that is something, as a woman, for so many years you would have seen it. How did you handle all that?
I don't care, actually. My decision is how it's my personal thing, right? And I will do what I like and what is comfortable for me and my family. So not everybody would be that way. People will pour in guilt into you. Oh no, you're leaving a baby back home. Why should you get back? So I had all that, but I think I didn't bother much. My first baby was too enthusiastic. I took off a year. Second baby, I was enthusiastic with work, so I went back faster. So, yeah, you have things, you have societal pressures, you have biological pressures. I think you have to sit down, see what works for you, what you want to do, and just take your decision. That's all. Don't listen to anyone else, because everybody has a different setup, right? Everybody's life is different. Their surroundings, upbringing, everything is different. So you have to take what works for you and what makes you happy. Don't bend to pressure, but take an informed decision, I would say.
Strategically plan it out, whatever you want to do, and things like that.
Yeah, keep yourself comfortable. Maybe you have to financially plan things. You will need to set up your support system before and after. So plan all that well.
That's nice, because she's been there for so many years in the industry. I've always wondered, like, how do people balance it out? Is it even possible?
Sometimes it's a circus.
It is difficult, right? At that point in time, it is difficult.
It was very difficult, I should say. And there is no balance. Okay. It's like at a certain point of time, work is priority. You focus on work and get that done. At certain point, family is priority. Prioritize family and, focus on that. Both will not balance. It's a myth if someone says that.
Any other questions? You should ask those questions. Yeah. No, I think the team had a few questions, right? So we'll kind of what we asked for, right? Like, we spoke about a lot of things that happened previously, right? And how to build a career and whatnot. A few over the next 20-30 minutes, would love to understand what you do at your current roles and how you think the technology is kind of transitioning from here, right? Probably I'll start with you. You say you're currently working on. Okay, can you explain what you work on?
Yeah. So just to give a little bit of my work at Meta, first I joined the WhatsApp team. I was part of the account compromised and app compromised. Let's say if your account is hacked, then it used to come to our team. And we don't look at the data because it's encrypted, right? So just by collecting signals, we determine if it's really hacked or not and work on it. So was part of that. Then moved to an enterprise product of workplace. Right now, I'm in the advertisement sector, more specifically on the catalog, where you collect the data from the sellers and make sure the data is more optimized and going forward. So if I think about it, if we think more about the ads, before it was just that somebody wanted to portray the ads and we were seeing it. Then it started having dynamic ads where based upon your data and your experiences and let's say purchase history and depending upon different data points, then the ads started occurring, which we call as a dynamic ads. So if you think about what the next thing is, right, it's the whole experience of shopping ads where you just go, let's say, go into any app or a platform which a company can own. You will have the complete experience of seeing the product, buying it, and then it's more like continuous habit of making you buy that as well. So it's more about personalized. I think we can talk more about the personalized recommendation, but then giving the whole experience of it, I think is advertisements.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay, that's exciting.
Is the underlying technology with that you use that has also changed over this period to enable this personalization?
I think it's more about product features and the way things are built and frameworks, what you actually change more than I wouldn't. Obviously, there are pipelines, ML pipelines, which you have where you actually where you learn more about the data which is being fed in. You start collecting more signals than before. You'll have frameworks like where the products are invalidated and more customized things. But I wouldn't say specifically like, oh, this is the technology which interrupts. I would more say it's the culmination of technology and the framework which existed. And then, think about more from this was the product and we need X things. Now we need Y things. Mm-hmm. So do we need more data to make the Y, or how do we migrate or translate the X to Y to give that experience? So it's more on that. Yeah.
Poornima, what do you do at your work right now?
I'm with the Watson X client engineering team. I'm an AI engineering lead over here. So my day job involves working with customers, showing them what value our products can give them, understanding their pain points, issues that they are facing currently. Then we see how we could infuse AI there and give them a solution, try to solve their issues, help them maybe save time, save dollars, save effort, etc. So I architect solutions which will help them. And then we create a POC or an MVP as we call, which is a minimum viable product where they can see what value this would add to their system.
So a lot of people, as I said before, have heard about the word AI, but they do not know what it can, the practical application of it. With Watson X, you would have interacted with multiple application-oriented clients, right? Like, what are the few applications that you can think about? Say, if I know conversational AI is one, but when you say conversational AI, people think it's ChatGPT alone, right? Like,
let me think of some applications which you use every day, right? Your Google Maps. You are looking at how to get to a place. You're able to understand which place is crowded, which place is not. So this is AI in play. You use your chatbot, your virtual agents when you log into a particular portal. This is AI again in everyday use. If you come to manufacturing, we can do things like, predictive maintenance, where you prevent outages, saving a lot of dollars and a lot of money for the companies and enterprises. Self-driven cars, you have your
So what's the underlying technology that has changed for us to kind of, the question that I asked previously, like was it the same 15 years back, or is it what's happening is only the last 5 years? How do you see the future?
So probably all this was there several years back, maybe 50 or 70 years back, okay, in a different way. So the underlying technology or underlying thing with AI is that you're trying to predict something. You're trying to identify existing patterns, and based on what you learn from that pattern, you are able to predict something else. So you have a pattern which you learn probably for house rents in Koramangala, right? So you have enough data to know that 3 BHK costs this, 3 BHK with a balcony costs this much. You have all that data and the machine learns a pattern out of it. So when you go ahead and give a new piece of data, it can predict the price for you. So it is statistics, it is numbers, it's your linear algebra, all that we learned in school and college and thought it was completely useless. All that is put to use over here. And all this existed long back as well. But what changed? The underlying hardware changed. We got GPUs, which could, crunch these numbers very quickly. Otherwise, it was your supercomputer. It was not accessible to everybody. So this hardware technology which changed, you have access to GPUs which can crunch numbers quickly. That changed. Your ability to handle large amounts of data, that changed. Your ability to build larger models, that changed. So all these things came together in the last maybe 5 to 10 years and brought about this revolution where you can create models which you can use every day in your everyday life. Otherwise, it was not so easy and accessible.
Will this get even more integrated as you go into the future?
Without doubt.
What are the ways you think it will get integrated? What are the examples that you see?
Into our everyday lives, you're seeing? Okay. So it can drastically change healthcare. In the field of healthcare, there are a lot of things.
Disease detection.
You can probably detect a heart attack before it's happening. We already have people wearing devices and tracking all these things. It can change a lot of things in retail. So your advertising, we can probably personalize that much more based on the trends and patterns and other data that you collect. Conversational AI, where you don't have an agent on the other side talking to you all the time, 24/7. You pick up your call, you tell what is your problem, it gets resolved. So I think it's endless. It's penetrating everywhere.
When we speak about AI, especially, and also conversational AI, there's a fear of loss of jobs, and that's one aspect of it that people speak about. There's also the other aspect of security. Like, how do you view this?
One with the loss of jobs, I can say AI cannot always replace a human being, right? It can emulate a human being to a certain extent, and it can make their life easier by doing some of the mundane tasks. So think of a customer care agent who's sitting on the other side of the call and they're getting yelled at, my password has changed, I cannot log in. These are mundane tasks. He has to go and reset the password. So there are 80% of his day job may be this, right? He's wasting his time and his energy and his intellect doing this. If these things can be handled by AI and by a machine, he can focus on doing the more complicated things, focus his efforts better. He's more happier. The customer is also happy at his end, right? So one thing is it will make things easier for people. It will not replace people. I would never say that. And the other aspect is that, at one end, if there are a few people losing jobs for certain reason, at the other end, AI is creating a lot of jobs, because AI doesn't come out of thin air. You need someone to go build those models, deploy those models. So there is a balance over there, and I don't see it getting disrupted.
Yeah, I wanted to ask more about. No, it was more like, so basically having more data, we are going to be able to personalize, avoid, let's say I can avoid doing mundane tasks. But then how can I be sure the more, let's say it's more about like you know more about me than I do, right? How do I feel secure about giving my data to a machine?
Okay. So I would say it depends on how enterprises handle data. Different enterprises handle data differently. So if you take IBM, for example, we are hell bent on making sure we are ethical. The data that we have is, legal. We don't infringe on copyrights. There is a whole team out there sitting and ensuring that this happens, and there is no hap, which is hate, abuse, and profanity, that doesn't come in. So all the models that are built, I can speak for IBM and quote that as an example. All the models that we build, you need lots and lots of data to build models. So all this data is vetted out. You have a team looking into it, cleansing it, sanitizing it, to ensure bias, hate, abuse, profanity, or PII, personally identifiable information. All this is removed before we make our models. And if the customer has some data, we ensure that is protected as well. So that is one of the primary concerns for every customer, right? So you will have to go with an enterprise who ensure you that they take care of this. That is the only way. So that is where AI governance has come into picture, where AI governance and data governance, where you know the lineage of data, and you ensure that the data is not accessible to people who should not access it, or visible to people who should not see it. And the models are also tested to ensure that it is fair, there is no bias, and it is explainable. When I say this, I'll give you an example. So you apply for a loan in a bank, it gets rejected. So you want to know, why did you reject my loan? So we should be able to explain to you that your loan got rejected for these 3 reasons, and those reasons should be fair. I shouldn't have rejected you because of your caste or ethnicity, or based on your gender. So I should be able to give you a fair explanation of why my model rejected you, right? So all these things have to be taken care of. So we have to go with enterprises who ensure they do this. Not everyone does.
On top of what you said, right? Let's say we go with an enterprise which actually follows this. But again, there is a point of data breach which can happen. Today, normally, if there is a data breach, there is a level of adversity which can happen. But if this is going to be like more of a sensitive data, and it's also if the impact of the data can be huge, though, let's say the enterprise is very morally right, and if the data gets breached, it can fall into the wrong hands, right? How do we avoid it in the generation of AI?
First thing is, AI can play a big role in security, okay? Where, excuse me, we can detect a potential breach in security very quickly. So it is a play of AI and the hardware. So, you have a bank where it is getting bombarded with, GPay payments or UPI payments. UPI payments happen several at a second for a country like India, right? So very quickly, you need to have that hardware which can process this and detect that there is a fraud happening. At the same time, you need to have a good model, AI model, which has seen the pattern and it understands that, there is a fraud happening. So AI plays a very big role in security. So you were talking about data security. So with data also, lot of things are in place where people ensure that data is encrypted in place or in movement. Again, these are precautions and technologies which individual enterprises have to adopt and ensure it doesn't happen. And they have to, again, make sure that you don't collect PII information when it is not required. You have to ensure people are not given access to it. It's encrypted, stored in a proper way. Even if it's going to happen, you should have the technology or AI in place to detect that immediately and take measures.
There are a lot of measures that's happening around, right? Like the governance, AI governance that countries are putting together, I think, right? Like India was speaking about its own AI governance council or something around that.
So all countries have regulations around AI, which is coming out. One of them is the European Union Act, and US is coming up with something. So all these people require certain metrics from your model and from your data. So what kind of metrics? There are metrics to measure fairness, explainability, bias. So you need to ensure these things are followed and kept in place so that you don't violate those regulations. So AI governance, that's what it means. You govern the AI to ensure these regulations are followed. You also govern the AI to ensure that the data which is coming in is governed. You know the lineage, where this data came from, how it is managed, etc. And you also know the whole life cycle that this model has gone through, who has built it, what has it gone through. So all this comes into AI governance. So this is deploying AI at scale. That is where enterprises are struggling today, right? So a lot of people want to adopt AI. There is a lot of ask for it, but deploying AI at scale is not everybody's cup of tea, because not all enterprises have put this into place. They don't have this complete platform where you can do everything, where I would call it responsible AI. Ethical and responsible and transparent AI, where you know what data has gone in, you know who has built it, you know it's as per the laws and it's safe to use.
So one,
Okay, first.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you can.
yeah.
So, like you said earlier, it's going to be so much more deeply integrated into the future. And you were a software developer yourself, right? So now, do you think that's going to be so integrated that software developers need to learn about AI when to write in the
Absolutely. It's being taught in schools as curriculum.
But I feel like you can still make a career without it as well, right? I mean,
Okay, that's what you're asking.
yeah. So, yeah. So I just to put on that, it's definitely necessary. But I still think you can be an engineer who have never got into the ML pipelines and stuff. You can still work on apps, build websites. Obviously, you need to know about data, but data is one layer of the whole architecture. There is so much of the different layers when it comes to the app. So it's good to know about it and be very interested.
Need not be an
Not-
expert.
yeah, just to
Yeah.
understand.
So
Yeah.
because when Poornima says it's an AI first,
It's the vision of the how the world is going to be.
It's not even a vision, it's the way
product,
it's changing.
yeah.
even if the product is AI first, the person who codes that product having an understanding of what that AI first delivers will enable them to build that product in that way, right? So would it?
Yeah, you would need to be cognitive about it.
Okay.
You need not be like an expert in that field. See, it's like a correlation I would draw to what database was in our times, right? So you are a developer. You don't have to be a database administrator, but you should know how to use it.
Got it.
If you don't know it, it's going to be troublesome,
Yeah.
right? So that's the way it's going to be. Someone has built a model, you should know how to use it.
Okay.
And using that may become your primary criterion to move ahead.
Got it.
Any questions?
I just asking this because in your career, I feel like you were shifted from so many different, like over the years, you're continuously picking about so many different things. And in 2024 now, and nobody has anything else to talk about but AI. And there you are again. I anticipated with career plus AI, right? So how do you do that? How are you cognizant of, okay, this is going to happen and I have to pick up on it? Because now you're doing your second master's in AI.
I didn't foresee and pick it up. Like I said, for people in my generation, this was organically happening, but we didn't know. I was working on cloud. I didn't know. Then at some point, I realized, okay, I need to study this little more in detail. I learned about that. I was working with data and doing different things with it. I didn't know it was data science. So at a certain point, I couldn't continue without learning more about it, right? Especially with the millennials coming out of all the institution empowered with all this knowledge, I had to stay up to date. So yes, and I had the curiosity. I am doing this. I am using my Alexa. How is it able to respond to me? I had that curiosity. So I built on that, went and learned more about it. I didn't have a vision.
On top of that, right, I just felt, I know from what we have said, you have been very inquisitive about tech and you've been there for so many years, always going from cloud to AI and stuff like that. Have you felt at least some point during these so many years that you're saturated somewhere, or you're more like, you know what, I've done this much, what next, or is this for me, stuff like that? Those points, and how do you
No.
deal it?
At that point, you're doing that job. You're not doing 100 other things. So at present, I'm interested in working on generative AI. So I'm working on that. I'm not worried about other things. I'm learning more about
I think
it.
that's something we need to learn. At least coming from our side, it's too many options at a point where you're constantly thinking about, oh, you haven't figured out everything. But it's just more about going with the flow and organically.
And
embracing
generative AI, now if you see, there's so much content, lot of white papers, lot of technologies, lot of people releasing their own LLMs and whatnot. So there again, you have to find your
own niche.
path. You have to stick to what you need to know and build around that. Yes, I also got lost with generative AI. One day I went to my manager and I'm like, there's so much to learn, I can't. So he told me this, don't expect that you have to know everything. Know what is important and necessary for you. Follow that, learn that, and do that work. So yeah, you have to narrow your path.
My question was right on the other side. Like, your perspective is there's always more to learn, more to do. Have you been at a place where there you feel like, you know what, I've explored this much in this, there's nothing more to do types?
No, never.
Never at all.
That never. I don't think will it. I think at least I have been in a generation where so much has happened. It's been an inflection point, right? Cloud happened in front of me. NoSQL DB, AI, generative AI, everything is happening in front of me. There's a lot of adventure, never a dull moment I can feel.
No, it is more from the perspective that obviously there is organically some technical stuff which is happening, but it's also right that some come so fast and go so fast, right? Like, you might think this is the next big thing and it might go. And for many people, there might be a saturation point. Like, for example, let's say you're thinking about, oh, this is the data thing. And then you do these XY steps. Even let's take an example of coding. You think about when you start, you know what, you need to be good at a language, you do it. And then you'll go a little bit of architecture, you do it. Oh, from backend, you need to become full stack, you do it. You become an UX, you do it. Oh, then you go into an X company, you do it. Like, we talk about sometimes, like me and a couple of my friends, we talk about. So there was, obviously brand doesn't matter, which I've understood later. But there is this hope and goal which keeps you going, right? When you hit that goal, or let's say you were spending about 5-6 years hitting that goal, and then you hit it. Now at this point, your purpose is lost in a way. Even at that point, you think, oh, you know what, I'll do masters. Okay, where will you come back? To the same point. Now, where do you go after that? What is the thing which drives you? That's why I asked.
Yeah,
But
I
it's so
have,
frustrating.
at a certain point,
Yeah.
you've set a few goals for this year.
Yeah.
By August, you have achieved it.
Yeah.
You've done that. And now you're like, okay, now what to do?
What? Yeah.
Something comes up. Surely because of that unrest in you.
Mm.
If you're a person that I have done everything, now I will settle down and retire, nothing will come.
Okay.
If you have that unrest that when I get up in the morning, I need a challenge, it will come to you.
Okay.
One of the things that I felt a little earlier was there's actually no goalpost, right? If you set up a goalpost, if you set a goal, right? I'm not saying do not have a goal. I'm saying there is no static goals, right? Because every time you reach it, you just move that goal to the next thing. It's always a dynamic goal, because eventually, if, as Poornima has put it out, right, if you put the time and energy, you will get it there. It's just what is the time? The time is the only variable, right? So therefore, no goal is static. So over a period of, and when you start asking that question of, okay, what next? You're already searching for the next goal. That's how I think about it. So
Yeah. I think that is a lesson that many of the millennials need to learn in many ways. So because when I talk with people who are there, or even when you're having some coffee chat, it's like, oh, you know what? All of us thought we've come here. We don't know what to do. And it's more about gets into the place that just doing it repeatedly. Obviously, there was the unrest. Everybody is a person who had that unrest, who had that hope and the goal, and they've reached. But after a point, it's like, what do we do? Because we thought this was everything, and then it is feature. I think
That's a healthy place to be, because it lets you go and look out for what you want to.
Yeah.
If you don't have it, then there is a problem.
There's a problem.
continuously, I think the other thing also very similar. I see life as cycles. Usually cycles of 4 years or 7 years. At least this is my personal experience. No generalization. Say for example, very similar to what you're saying, right? At 6th, you studied Tamil. Till 6th, you studied Tamil medium. You wanted to move to English. Then 12th, you went to college. At college, you wanted to kind of say, okay, I want to get a good job. My college does not have it. I want to get somewhere else. So you got it. Then you wanted to try out some product-based company. You got into cryo. 4 years down the line, you wanted to go and do product companies, right? At every stage, what it does is life itself poses a challenge. We pose a challenge to ourselves. We solve the challenge, and it's the confidence that solving the challenge and the same methodology at a higher scale, we implement it 4 or 5 years later. So if you think about it, you will see a pattern evolving. Right?
So it's like you have the unrest, you try it, and then you go for it. You become comfortable with it. You learn it, and after you have an unrest.
And that unrest period is not easy. It is messy.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's messy, but I feel it eventually takes you to the right place.
Like when I was doing college, I saw many women, more than even I have always asked the question, where do all these women go? As we go up the career, they're so ambitious, they're studying so hard and all that. First half is the social thing, as we talk about. Many fall under within this age, you have to get married, the exposure, they fall under the social stigma. So that one half is already gone. And when there is an other half, when you want to get into tech or let's say a government job or even a gate or things, there is this lot of uncertain which is there in tech. And then there is a lot of certainty which is there in other sectors. Like talking from my experience that once, let's say,
you get a bank job, you're settled.
Talk from 100%. Only 25% is dropped in social stigma. Next 25% is more about, let's go for this core company, for example, or there will be less layoffs than going for the tech. The pattern of uncertainty falls there. So other 25% is gone. Now the 50% which enters the tech again, just my point of view is that you go into different divisions rather than going into core engineering.
Yeah.
If you think
you get diluted.
Yeah, you get diluted. How many women actually make it to core engineering? It has improved a lot now. But even when I started the career, it might be the millennial generation. Out of 100 engineers, I would have seen 2 women engineers there, or 2 or 3. So it's like it's also, again, this is a very thing perspective. When I have told people, not who are in tech, it's fine. But then who I have told generally, even when I used to work in co-working spaces, they'd be like, oh, you must be very nerdy. That's the only way to get into that. So it's more like you need to, it's not your nature to go and directly into coding. So I think there is again a 25% drop. And once, even though you're into engineering, as you actually spoke about, you need to make a lot of choices and you need to keep on doing it. It is as much as every field is about continuous learning, engineering is more about your focus, you're debugged, and then
No, I feel any job, if you want to do it well, you have to.
yeah, you
work
need to be
hard
always
versus
on top
learn.
of it. But I feel every job has different traits to it. Like, let's say when I was in a startup, there are many days we would spend late nights. There are many days we would go under iterations of developing a product. There was never a time in my house where they asked me, why are you coming up late or what are you doing? But I don't think that is the freedom everybody has. So you need to, like how you said, having a supporting family, having supporting members around you is very important, specifically as a woman.
I was not allowed to go home late, but I made.
Yeah. See,
My
there is
father
another
used
drop.
to wait for me at the bus stop. G was in Whitefield. So I had to travel all the way home. It was some 30 kilometers, I don't know what. So he would be waiting at the bus stop. 7:15 bus has, and that was the age where we didn't have mobile. I'm delayed by 10 minutes. So he's waiting there. I have to get down and go.
But yeah, I said that it's changed a lot now.
No, all of these contribute to the less number of people in tech, especially less number of women in tech. But I think that's changing, right? Like definitely changing, right? That's where
Because
My
it's also
team
become-
has equal. We have
a lot of companies take the effort to kind of get that
bring in diversity.
bring in diversity.
Yeah.
even my team now has more in female engineers. Like I've seen my whole life, I'm saying it. And also it's become a little cool to be technical also now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when compared to before, it's more embraced when somebody is in tech.
More people know about it, right? Like say for example, now that you are say from your city you have come, I'm very sure at least 10 or 20 families know about you, about your story, right? And there'll be at least 3 or 5 kids who want to be like you, right? So and that's how, right? That's how we also grow, right?
You may not see a drastic increase in numbers because there are so many other options now, right? It's not only tech. You have so many wonderful options. I may have taken one of them if it was there during my times. We knew only about engineering, medicine, maybe commerce. Beyond that, we were not even looking.
I think even
So-
so might have unusually
Yeah, even now it's there, right? It's just that there are other opportunities that are coming by. With more people succeeding at each layers, right? What people, and this is my belief, with people succeeding at each level, there'll be role models created, small role models, right? And that essentially accelerates equal distribution of people at workforce across any work that you take, right? I'm absolutely sure there will be multiple people in your family, in her family, that essentially sees both of you as people to be, right? Like I saw my aunt, and she was a manager of people, and the way that she kind of behaved herself, right? And you say, okay, that's how I need to work. That's how I need to make sure that I give the right respect and take the right respect from people, right? Small things, and that's how, right? Like, think probably 20 years back, there won't be there won't be so many people, and also not enough mediums of distribution of these kind of information. I think that's
I relate to that. Just to be on, like in a personal level, I even had a cousin sister who made it outside of the country to Australia, and that inspired me. Like, you can do it. And you know, what was little starting was coming from even our generation. We might say it's like in the future very open. When I was trying to move abroad for a couple of years, I had so many people telling you can get married and go. That can be the way out. It's like, that's not the way out I want to take as well. So there is this stigma that you want to do it, you can do it this way, and not to go through your career into it.
safer way to
Safer
go.
way to go.
Great. Thank you so much. People who will see this video will kind of aspire to be people like you, and we want more people to be people like you, right? Any words of wisdom, as Rachel said?
According to me, it's about like you need to really believe in what you want to do. And if anybody tells you can't do it, you will try it out and you'll know it for yourself. So try to believe what you want to do, take steps, and automatically you'll start getting exposure. And yeah, that is all I believe in.
I would say you fail as long as you don't try, right? And second thing, keep your learning on. You should never stop learning. That will take you places. Take risks.
Just to add on to what I said, also never get intimidated by someone by thinking, you know what, oh, they are sitting here, they have done it. Everybody goes through their struggle, and at every stage it changes in the mess they are in. So it's okay that you're facing with XYZ things, because when you go not even up, when you go to different stages, it's going to be different problems, and it's okay for the state to be in.
Yeah, everybody has
Challenges, yeah.
Yeah. So great. Thank you so much for being a part of this episode 2. We're very sure a lot of people would take a look at this and aspire to be engineers like you. And we have something to give to them. On behalf of the team, which has put a lot of efforts, I just came here today and giving this, but this is on behalf of the team. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you
So much for coming.
Thank you. We had a good time in the conversation as well. So thanks.
If you like this video, please like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. We have more of this content coming up, and see you in the next episode. Thank you.